Welcome to our Sunday morning meditation service. I gradually take my place in an abundant world, and this is from the Daily Word. God is the source of the abundance in my life. I am grateful for the goodness and grace of God, and that blesses the world and expresses through me. I live abundantly, grateful for all I've been given, and for my opportunity to give back to all. So, this daily word has a message for every day throughout the year, and it's available in our bookstore, and it has been around since the turn of the century. It has influenced so many other religions to put together a word for the day in other religions, but Daily Word was the first with Charles and Myrtle Fillmore. We're going to do Satanama. Sa is the beginning, and that's this. Sa is the beginning, infinity, the totality of everything that ever was or will be. Ta, next finger. Ta is life, existence and creativity that manifests from infinity. Na is death, change, and the transformation of consciousness. Ma is rebirth, regeneration, and resurrection, which allows us to consciously experience the joy of the infinite. So, not only are you chanting, but you're doing the fingers. If you do this every day, it will change your life. Just put on, new age music and sa-ta. Okay, we're going to do it. We only have a drum now, though, which is great. Imagine that there's a synthesizer and everything else. Okay, here we go. Satanama, 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 Satanama. Satanama, 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 Satanama,
Good morning, everyone. Back when I began my spiritual journey in New York City, I was involved, deeply involved, with the Edgar Cayce trance readings. And there was a small, tiny apartment-like center in the city in which they had the readings of Edgar Cayce and the books on spiritual development. And that's where Norma and I got started in the journey of transformation. Edgar Cayce was also a fundamental Christian and an avid Bible student. He read the Bible once through for every year of his life. And so it inspired me to read the Bible and study the Bible. One particular quote in the Bible at that time in my early development had a profound effect on me. Can we have this first PowerPoint? It is this. No, that's not it. Can we have the, this is it from John 14, 12 to 14. Truly, truly, I say to you, he who believes in me will also do the works that I do. And greater works than these will he do, because I go to the Father. Whatever you ask in my name, I will do it, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If you ask anything in my name, I will do it. That quote had a profound effect on me, to such a degree that I decided to perform my first miracle. Norma and I were living in a brownstone building, has 3 floors. We were living on the ground floor. And there was another apartment on that ground floor that was adjacent to ours. And you could actually hear this single lady that had the other apartment. You could hear her through the heating system. Whoever set up that heating system, it just carried the voice of the people in those two apartments. Maybe at one point it was just one apartment that they divided. I don't know. But you could hear her voice clearly, especially when she was in a certain room. I think it was her bedroom. And this lady was facing a terrible challenge. She kept talking to God, saying, "Why, God? Why is my nose running? My nose is always running. Why? Why are you doing this? And the doctors, why can't the doctors heal my nose? Why?" And we hear this coming through the heating duct in our apartment. And so I decided that I could heal her. And I got her name from the mailbox, went to her door and knocked on the door. And she came to the door, and I said, "Nancy Dobbs, I've been guided by God to heal you. Therefore, in the name of the living Christ, your nose is healed. You have no concerns with it whatsoever anymore." And she looked at me aghast for a moment and said, "Are you effing crazy? You're nothing. You're the guy that lives next door. What's wrong with you? Get out of here before I call the police." So it didn't go well. After that, though I was keenly interested in spiritual healing, and I can say this because in that early center in New York City, it was just beginning, and we had, maybe 20 or 30 people altogether that would show up there on a Saturday for dream discussions and meditation and things like that. But a number of them had what they refer to as miracle healings. And I would talk to them, and I would talk to other people as well that they would say they knew or whatever. But I was really keenly interested in finding out what was the source, how do you bring about a spiritual healing? And so I went through that for quite a period of time. And I did a lot of reading on it, and I looked deeply into the Casey readings, which actually there was some trance readings and when they spoke about spiritual healing and how the Casey phenomena actually could work. But as I studied that, and this is long before A Course in Miracles was written, published, it began to occur to me that spiritual healing has to do with a change in a person's mind. There has to be a change in the person's mind, and whether that happens through extreme faith in, it can be Jesus or God or something, or it happens through some type of spiritual practice, or it happens through the teachings of people like Casey or the like. But it requires a shift in the way people think about themselves. So I stayed with that quite a while, and it became very evident to me in the ministry. This is what came to me when I wound up in the ministry, and in the early ministry, I did a lot of counseling. And in these counseling sessions, it occurred to me that the people that I was talking to that had all these different problems, their minds were devoid of love. They had no relationship to speak of toward loving life in any way, loving themselves, loving others, none of it. So that was like an awakening for me, that they didn't have any, their mental capacity had, for some reason or other, had shut out the idea of love on a universal level. They may sometimes would say, I love my children, but that was about the extent of it. They just had no love for themselves, and most of them did not have a love for life. And the things that would happen to them were like almost, in many cases, beyond getting any help or getting any medical treatment that would work. So that was an awakening for me, this whole idea about love. Later on in A Course in Miracles, this became absolutely true. See if you can get inside this truth. Can we have the next PowerPoint, please? This is in A Course in Miracles, the old text, 203. In the new text, which you probably have, it's 218. Miracles are merely the translation of denial into truth. If to love oneself is to heal oneself, those who are sick do not love themselves. Therefore, they are asking for the love that would heal them, but which they are denying to themselves. If they knew the truth about themselves, they could not be sick. The task of the miracle worker thus becomes to deny the denial of truth. The sick must heal themselves, for the truth is in them. Yet having obscured it, the light in another mind must shine into theirs, because that light is theirs. The light in them shines as brightly, regardless of the density of the fog that obscures it. If you give no power to the fog to obscure the light, it has none. For it has power only if the Son of God gives power to it. He must himself withdraw that power, remembering that all power is God. You can remember this for all the sonship. Can we take this back again? Also keep in mind that the Course in Miracles does not accept the error that came out as has been related, I related it last week. There's an error in the scripture of the New Testament, and that error was made a long time ago during the interpretations of it, where Son of God was preceded by the article the Son of God. Whereas if you remove that, and it was only placed in there, it was imagined in there by Bible interpreters at the time, thinking there's only one separate Son of God, who is Jesus Christ of Nazareth. But that is not in the Aramaic, and it is not in the Hebrew, and it came through only in the Greek from the interpreters who put the in there. If you remove the natural sequence of it is a Son of God. So this is what A Course in Miracles acknowledges, and most spiritual teachers these days acknowledge just that as well. Miracles are merely the translation of denial into truth. If to love oneself is to heal oneself, those who are sick do not love themselves. This is a painful truth. This is a hard truth, especially for people facing a difficult challenge physically. I understand that. But the love we are talking about is pristine love. It is a love beyond the thinking of the love the world shares. I hope to get to that in this talk. So therefore, they are asking for the love that would heal them, but which they are denying to themselves. If they knew the truth about themselves, they could not be sick. The task of the miracle worker thus becomes to deny the denial of truth. That is, those people that are totally into the denial of truth, you as a miracle worker must deny their denial of truth. And down through the ages, long time ago, there were those masters who could do it, and quite often did it in amazing ways. One of them would talk people out of their illness. The Quimby manuscripts was written by, I don't remember his first name, but something Quimby. He was actually the first truly spiritual healer in the West. And Mary Baker Eddy, who created Christian Science, studied with Quimby and brought those truths over to create Christian Science. And out of that, unity came out of that ideal, but it expanded upon it. I hope I get to that in this talk. My talk should be like about 2 hours long. So people like Quimby would somebody would come to Phineas Quimby, it was his first name, and they would sit with him, and they would tell him what was going on with them, and he would talk them out of believing that that could even be possible. It's an amazing story of how Christian Science got started, unity got started, spiritual healing in the West got started with Quimby. Okay. That's why the task of the miracle worker thus becomes, in some way, you've got to deny the denial of truth that people are holding in their minds. The sick must heal themselves, for the truth is in them. Yet having obscured it, the light in another mind must shine into theirs, because that light is theirs. The light in them shines as brightly, regardless of the density of the fog, that is, the illusionary concepts they hold about themselves and others, that obscure it. If you give no power to the fog to obscure the light, it has none. For it has power only if the Son of God, and that's whoever is breathing is a Son of God, gives power to it. He must himself withdraw that power, remembering that all power is God. We can leave it there. Remembering that all power is God. If you have the opportunity, if you had the opportunity, as most ministers do, to do a lot of counseling, you could become aware of the self-imposed limitations and disease that people foist on themselves unknowingly. For many people, it happens when they're growing up, very early age. Their parents are saying things to them and putting them through such experiences as to make them feel that they're vulnerable to all manner of disease. I know there's going to be a bazillion questions. You won't even be able to talk or discuss them with me today, because we're having a special potluck, which is set up in that room in the fellowship hall. But if you have questions today, surely write them down, bring them with you next Sunday. There are lots of things to question about. How do children who are not even yet able to speak come down with disease? There's answers to that from a spiritual level. Because this is a hard one, even for people in unity to take. The human race is evolving. It has setbacks, yes, huge setbacks in consciousness and understanding. The quest for technology that's going to relieve us of all the limitations and difficulties that human beings face has only been an interference. And I've got to give a special talk on that. The whole concept of healing really resides in the consciousness of the one who needs healing. And there needs to be an openness to an idea that doesn't exist in the general thinking of the world, which is this: everything is interconnected to a refined intelligence that we may refer to as God. But that is the truth. And when one begins to embrace the possibility of that truth, one can open his or her mind to rise from the limited thinking that one has been holding about life, vulnerable to all these difficulties. One can raise their awareness till thinking is almost eradicated. And the only thing left is the insights of God. Only the insights that there is a love presence that heals everything. A love presence that heals, harmonizes everything. That's what we're doing here, by the way. That's why we've stepped away from traditional religion, which placed God way up beyond the stars in some heaven. Even though the Bible clearly says the kingdom of God is within you and all around you, and has to be a state of consciousness. That's what we did. We stepped away from the traditional idea, putting priests and others between us and the presence of this intelligence, which we refer to as God. So, it comes down to this. You might say, an honest unity minister, if he's doing the work himself, he may have challenges along the way. They have to come for him to see through his own limited awareness and then make adjustments. But an honest approach toward unity truth would be to say, the object of consciousness is to feel good. If you feel truly good, I'm not talking about passing opportunities where you feel justified that something went your way, or you might even feel justified in holding blame for someone, or resentment, or some type of animosity in your mind. So you feel a rush of rightness, but you don't feel truly good. Because to feel truly good and enter into a relationship with this refined intelligence, which is harmonious love, to enter into that relationship, one must be capable of releasing, abolishing all of his or her grievances. You can't carry your long-held grievances into prayer and expect those prayers to be answered. A mind that is conditioned to and harboring grievances, blame, resentment, vengeance, hate, cannot enter the consciousness of God. So, what is the journey? To feel truly good, which means you enter this divine level of awareness, which brings healing completely, we have to remove the blocks to love. We have to be able to catch the mind when it is holding negative thoughts. We have to catch the mind when it's generating negative emotions. And you can pray with great passion, but if those negative emotions are first and foremost in your consciousness, your prayer can't be answered because you're not aligned with your Creator. And the world is becoming less and less aligned with its Creator, and there's going to be a backlash to that, so that I think we're going to have a huge leap forward in consciousness. And I think that's coming pretty soon. But as we go, it is incumbent upon each of us to be aware of the fact that grievances must be abolished in one's mind. And that is how one enters into enlightened awareness. So then, when we are feeling good or learning how to feel good, and it requires being able to take a holy pause when the mind is contemplating negative thoughts, creating negative emotions, you pause. You have to pause, and you have to be open and honest enough to say, courageous enough to say, do I really want to feel like this? Do I really want to think this? Because all I am doing is I'm blocking my own joy, my own love, my own harmony, my own peace. That's all religion there is. There is no more religion. It's right there. You heard it. You can take it with you. You can practice it. You can find your way into the consciousness of God. There is nothing else that can do it for you. And so, how many masters do we have to listen to? Let's listen to Thich Nhat Hanh. No, you don't have Thich Nhat Hanh on there? Okay. In essence, well, give me a couple of those miracle quotes, because there's one in there I can use. Bring those miracle quotes back, please.
Okay.
Hold it. No. Next. Give me the next one.
That's the last one.
Give me the one before that.
There was an ACIM one we skipped at the beginning.
You have that? Yes, that's good. All right. And when we're done here, tender your resignation. Let me say this, if that guy tenders his resignation, this place is over. He is the, I call him the magician. He handles everything. So I'm only joking. I hope you know that, if you're new especially. That's Mike. He holds the key to the great wisdom and harmony that happens here. Here's this Course in Miracles quote. This is from page 135. You are entitled to miracles because of what you are. You will receive miracles because of what God is. And you will offer miracles because you are one with God. That should be a capital G. Again, how simple is salvation? It is merely a statement of your true identity. It is this that we will celebrate today. Your claim to miracles does not lie in your illusions about yourself. It does not depend on any magical power you ascribe to yourself, nor on any of the rituals you have devised. So, again, what A Course in Miracles does, it's taking it out of the personality. People living in the personality, holding limited ideas about themselves and others in the personality, are operating in the illusion of separation. And it doesn't matter what you contrive in that illusion, you cannot find your way into harmony, healing, and peace until you remove those blocks. Because as we have grown up and received these illusionary concepts of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, you do this to me, I'll get even with you, all of that craziness that Jesus spoke about in the Bible, all of that is your own acceptance of debilitation. Give it up. Take seriously the spiritual journey that promises you can become one with the consciousness of God, but you can't bring your grievances with you. You have to eliminate your grievances. So I can say that, down through the years in ministry, I've seen a lot of people who have found their way into this divine consciousness and have really created a life truly worth living because they took to task their own awareness. You see, the whole concept that blaming anything outside yourself, holding grievances about anything outside yourself, is erroneous. Why? Here it is. You don't take anything else away from this talk. Take this next truth with you. Because there is only one self, which is the Son of God, everyone in it part of the intelligence and love that is God. If you hold anything against anyone, you blame anyone outside yourself, you are only still blaming yourself. You are only still deciding to be limited, fear-driven, and diseased. You're only deciding that. I know it's not everybody's fault, anybody's fault. We grew up learning this insanity. We were raised in it, educated in it, still being educated in it. The error, the underlying error of all errors, the underlying error of man's inhumanity to mankind and to himself is this: the illusion of separation. Surrender that and know that everyone you look upon and everything you see is God, is you, is me. We're going to take some time to meditate together. Begin by taking a couple of deep breaths. As you release your breath, release any particular cares or concerns that you might be harboring. For these few moments in meditation, just be willing to be sitting here and okay with life. That's the beginning, to be okay with life and things just as they are. No judgment, no blame, no condemnation, nothing to resent, just letting things be what they are right now. Breathing, gently breathing your way into this present moment of okayness. Gently breathing your way into the here and now okayness. And you might want to just give your mind this mantra. Gently bringing this mantra into focus. Not fighting with or trying to drive out extraneous thoughts. Just let thoughts begin to relax. And bring your attention to this mantra. Everything I look upon, everything I see is only God waiting for me. Everything I look upon, everything I see is only God waiting for me. Everything I look upon, everything I see is only God's love waiting for me. as we go forth from this meditation to those places we occupy in time and space. Let us go forth with a deeper understanding that everything I look upon is also God. For this opportunity in every moment, we give thanks. To this we say, Amen. We will take an offering for unity now. And those of you that are watching this live stream, you can scroll down to that place that says donate. On our website, you can go to top right-hand corner that says donate. But do participate in this ideal which exists from the beginning of time, that the presence of the Creator has always been, is now, and always will be accessible. So give to Unity of Boulder as we continue to share this truth with those who are open and ready for it. And those of you that are here can bring into your hands a gift you'd like to make to Unity to support the truth that is shared here. And let's bless this offering with this offering prayer. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And so it is. Amen.
Only believe, love heals, love, pure love heals. Only believe, love heals, love, pure love heals. Oh.
Join me now, please. We dedicate this tithe that is taken to the will and the work of the Spirit of truth, the Spirit available to each of us, the Spirit that joins all of us. We dedicate this tithe to the victory of the Spirit of truth. And so it is. And following the second service, we have our great Thanksgiving celebration. That is a potluck. We have 3 turkeys that have been prepared for this, and other people are called on to bring whatever you can, a salad, mashed potatoes, dessert, or something to share with everyone as you partake of this Thanksgiving potluck. And that'll take place in Fellowship Hall after the first service. And let me say this, you have the opportunity to join us for the Thanksgiving Sunday service at 11 o'clock. You can go and have some refreshments, I think. They may still have some out in Fellowship Hall. Hang out till 11. At 11 o'clock, we're going to do some singing together. There's going to be a really quick, short reading about the essence of Thanksgiving. And then we're all going to have an opportunity, we're going to pass the microphone around for everyone to share what he or she is thankful for. And so it's a very uplifting, beautifully joyful experience that will be with you as we go in to partake of this great dinner we're having after the service. So if you don't have a particular something that you brought along, you still have time to get something in the supermarket or even at 7-Eleven. And if you can't do that, show up anyway. We have plenty of food for those of you that want to participate. Have an incredible Thanksgiving Sunday.